All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're going to take that dense, intimidating assessment reviewer and transform it into your ultimate survival playbook. Look, if you're stepping into that testing kitchen, you already know your way around a cutting board. We get that. So today, we're focusing entirely on the practical execution, how to actually pass this specific test. We're breaking down the exact steps, the non-negotiable safety protocols, and the technical answers you need to walk out of that kitchen with your certification in hand.
So here's the deal. You have exactly 90 minutes. That's it, 90 minutes to prove your competency to the assessor. And make no mistake, the clock is absolutely your biggest adversary here. Every single movement, from the moment you step up to your station, has to be calculated. Honestly, hesitation is what usually costs candidates their passing grade.
Because of that ticking clock, we're starting with the highest stakes. These are the top 5 automatic non-competency triggers. Basically, these are instant fail mistakes that will end your exam before you even get to plate a dish. If the assessor's digital probe reads undercooked poultry, you're done. Cross-contaminate raw meat and salad greens, done. If you exceed your time limit by more than 5 minutes, fail to reach sanitization temps in your wash cycle, or show up with jewelry in an incomplete uniform, it's an automatic failure. We have got to lock these critical safety protocols down first.
Okay, think of this agenda as your mental mise en place. We'll cover Section 1, the stakes and rules, Section 2, safety and station management, Section 3, the 90-minute practical exam, and Section 4, oral exam flashcards.
All right, Section 1, the stakes and rules. Let's move right in.
As you'll see here, panic totally breeds sloppy mistakes, but knowing these prevention strategies is going to keep your execution flawless. For example, time pressure makes people skip probing their chicken. Your new rule, no chicken leaves the pan without the thermometer. Rushing makes people handle plates with bare, greasy hands. Your fix for that? Always do a final border wipe with a clean, damp cloth. Oh, and a sliding cutting board, that's not just annoying, it's a massive safety red flag for an assessor. Place that damp towel under your board the very second you arrive.
Moving right along to Section 2, Safety and Station Management.
Now, what's really interesting here is that assessors are judging your safety habits from the actual second you step into the kitchen. A massive part of that is hygiene, specifically knowing the difference between cleaning and sanitizing. Cleaning physically removes visible dirt using detergents, but, and this is key, it does not kill pathogens. Sanitizing applies high heat or chemicals to reduce those microorganisms down to safe levels. So, the absolute crucial takeaway, cleaning must always happen before sanitizing can even be effective. You literally cannot sanitize a dirty surface.
And this operational difference ties directly into the 4-step warewashing sequence, which you will absolutely be tested on. Step 1. Scrape the solid debris into bins. Step 2. Wash in hot soapy water, minimum 43 degrees Celsius. Step 3. Rinse with clear hot water to get the soap off. And Step 4. Sanitize with chemicals or a thermal rinse and air dry. Listen to me very carefully on this one. If you dry your pots with a towel, you fail the sanitation check right then and there. You must follow these 4 steps perfectly and let everything air dry naturally.
Beyond your pots and pans, you need absolute control over your temperatures. This matrix right here, it's your Bible. There is a strict, non-negotiable 74 degrees Celsius threshold for poultry, and trust me, the assessor will verify it with a digital probe. Hot food has to be held above 60 degrees and cold food below 5 degrees. That middle ground between 5 and 60 degrees, that's your temperature danger zone, which we'll dive into more in just a bit.
Okay, Section 3, the 90-minute practical exam.
Now that our safety foundation is rock solid, let's use the high-frequency set alpha rotation as our blueprint. Notice the pacing here. In your 90-minute timeline, treating your first 15 minutes exclusively as sacred preparation time is the absolute secret to finishing within the window. Do not turn on the stove yet. Use this time to sanitize, wash your vegetables, and batch your knife work. The middle 60 minutes, that's for your active cooking, your soup, your chicken, your vinaigrette. Then those final 15 minutes are entirely dedicated to calm, clean plating.
Let's look at the step-by-step for the cream of mushroom soup assembly. You start by sweating your onions in butter without browning them. Then cook the mushrooms down to evaporate the moisture and concentrate the flavor. Stir in your flour for the roux base, and gradually whisk in warm stock so you don't get lumps. After simmering for 15 to 20 minutes, you blend it 80% and add your cream. But pay super close attention to step 6. If you boil a cream soup after adding dairy, it splits, and your product evaluation score will absolutely tank. Once that cream is in, just hold it gently above 60 degrees.
Next up, the classic club sandwich protocol.
You need 3 perfectly toasted slices of bread. You build your bottom layer with lettuce, tomato, bacon, and mayo, and then your top layer with lettuce, chicken, cheese, and more mayo. The trick here? Secure all 4 corners of that structure with cocktail skewers before you ever touch a knife. And here's a pro tip. Toast your bread at the very end to prevent it from getting soggy, and let your serrated knife do the work on that 45-degree diagonal cut so you don't crush all those beautiful layers.
All right, our final stretch, Section 4, Oral Exam Flashcards.
For this final hurdle of the explainer, we're doing a rapid-fire simulation of the face-to-face oral questioning. Imagine you're sitting right across from the assessor. They look you in the eye and ask, what is the temperature danger zone, and what is the 2-hour rule? You cannot hesitate here.
You need to deliver this definition with total confidence. Say it's the range of 5 degrees to 60 degrees Celsius where pathogenic bacteria multiply exponentially, and emphasize that food must not remain here for more than 2 cumulative hours. The range of 5 degrees to 60 degrees Celsius where pathogenic bacteria multiply exponentially, and food must not remain here for more than 2 cumulative hours.
Next, they might throw an emergency scenario at you. What action must be taken immediately if a cross-contamination event occurs? Now, this question is heavily weighted. They're testing if you'll prioritize safety over speed when things go wrong.
By outlining this exact protocol, you assure them you'd never serve dangerous food just to meet a deadline. Tell them you will stop all cooking immediately. You'll discard the contaminated food, move the tainted tools straight to dishwashing, and then do a full wash, rinse, and sanitize cycle on your prep table before restarting.
Then, they'll likely shift gears to classical technical knowledge. Name the 5 grandmother sauces and their base thickening agents. They want to make sure you actually understand the science behind the recipes.
You want to rattle off these 5 pairings without missing a beat to showcase that deep technical knowledge. Bechamel is milk and a white roux. Veloute is white stock and a blonde roux. Espagnole is brown roasted veal stock, brown roux, and tomato. Tomato sauce relies on aromatics or a blonde roux. And Hollandaise? That's your tricky emotion of clarified butter, egg yolks, and an acid reduction. Okay, next up, knife skills. What are the exact dimensions of a brunoise cut, and which cut is it derived from? They're checking to see if your technique is standardized or if you're just, guessing.
Give them the precise millimeter measurements to prove your culinary vocabulary is on point. Tell them a brunoise is an extremely fine dice measuring exactly 3 by 3 by 3 millimeters, and that it's derived directly from cross-cutting your Julienne matchstick strips.
And finally, we end the oral exam with arguably the most profound philosophy in the professional kitchen. Explain the concept and operational rule of mise en place. This concept literally ties everything we've talked about together.
Give them this thorough definition. Tell them it means everything in its place. It's the absolute discipline of measuring, washing, cutting, and staging all your components and equipment before any active cooking begins. So, if mastering mise en place is the true secret to passing the NCEIA assessment, what steps will you take tonight to ensure your mind is just as prepared as your station? Get your tools organized, study these exact protocols, and go crush that exam.